Yet another embarrassment for Islamabad, pushing forward its fake propaganda of claiming military operation success, victory over India. Various social media users in Islamabad and across the world are now mocking Pakistan Army Chief Asim Munir for presenting a framed painting which in some ways shows some resemblance to an alleged Chinese military exercise. Now, this is a gift that he gave Prime Minister Sharif, and this was at a high-profile dinner event. My colleague Shiv Arur joins us with more details on this. Shiv, what has really caught the internet's eye is this painting. Tell us a little bit about this. What was General Munir trying to do, and what has it come across us?
This was supposed to be, a memento or a souvenir representing Pakistan's operations against India. As you can see, it's a large framed picture of some kind representing the offensive action supposedly taken by Pakistan against India, except that, you can't fool the internet. There are people there who know exactly what's going on. And in the wake of the huge amount of misinformation from Pakistan, this is really the icing on the cake. Not only is that picture not Pakistani, not only is that picture not from during the Operation Sindoor period, but it's actually a Chinese picture that has been taken, sampled, modified, reproduced from way back, I hear anywhere between 2016 and 2019, and then put into a photo frame and presented by Field Marshal, and I use quotes advisedly, Asim Munir to Prime Minister Sharif. I think this is not only a gaffe, this is not only an error of gargantuan proportions, but it really sort of validates and confirms what we have seen as literally unending propaganda, half-truths, fake news, misinformation of epic proportions since the beginning of the operations that India has taken against Pakistan. Imagine a photograph presented by a 5-star general, a field marshal, to the Prime Minister of the country, Vasudha, representing not the combat that his military actually waged against India, but something that China did as part of not a combat mission, but an exercise somewhere in China more than 6-7 years ago. That is the representation. I can't think of a bigger symbol of what Pakistan is today than what we've got on our screens.
Also, Shiv, just take us through this barrage of misinformation that has emanated from Pakistan, specifically during Operation Sindoor. We've seen misinformation with regard to, our own S-400 being blasted and, being destroyed. Of course, something that it took the Prime Minister to sort of really clarify with that glorious picture of his. Tell us what kind of misinformation has really come out from Pakistan, and what does that really show about those helming their country at a time like this?
It's very interesting that you asked that, Vasudha, because just a couple of days ago, a friend of mine who's actually pursuing a PhD said he might change his subject to actually focus entirely on a media studies scrutiny of misinformation from Pakistan during Operation Sindoor, because that is the amount of content and subject matter this country has actually generated. You're right, the S-400s being destroyed, Pathankot, Adampur, Amritsar air bases being damaged, hundreds of troops being killed in various areas, the Bhuj air base being penetrated and compromised, Indian missile squadrons being hit. The misinformation has come so thick and fast that it's actually been really easy to bust. Rajnath Singh in Srinagar, Prime Minister Modi in Adampur, then again in Bhuj. It's almost like Pakistan was playing out this playbook that has been, pioneered by the Chinese, which is, use image in a vacuum. Whenever there's a fog of war, flood social media with misinformation, and those will find roots and gain traction, and that will become the truth. What they hadn't accounted for, of course, is a much more learned social media environment, right. Open source intelligence analysts, and let's not remember the icing on the cake, India's own proof of impact within Pakistan.
Right, a framed painting now under scrutiny and of course being called out for its fakeness, adding more embarrassment to Islamabad. Thank you, Shiv, for joining us with those details.